Hey there, we're back for another day on our 100 Days to Brave journey, going through the book written by Annie F. Downs, a book of daily devotionals that is designed to help us become our most brave selves, to gain more confidence, to become more courageous as we walk out on the path and the plan that God has for our lives. Enjoying the journey? It's a book that you can get from Amazon, your local bookstore, your local library, but I encourage you to continue to follow with me as I read from it daily on these 100 Days to Brave. I am up to day number 38, along with you guys, up to day number 38. We have been digging deep, learning a whole lot about ourselves as we pray, listen, write, and just reflect on all that we've got going on. So we are in the section of the book now, Brave Enough to Work Hard. Working hard is not for the faint of heart. And since day 33, we've definitely had some work to get done. If you have not already, go back over some of the other videos of the previous days. Play catch up with us. Definitely put the time in to put the work in so that we can again develop into our most brave selves. All right, let's get into day 38. When your calling isn't your job. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. That's Colossians, the 3rd chapter, in verse 23. What about when you're stuck in a job that isn't what you are forever called to do? There are times when you're doing a job that is not your calling. Maybe it's nowhere near your calling. Maybe you feel like every hour that you work at your job, you're doing the opposite of your calling. In those situations, you are still called to be faithful with your work, working as for the Lord and not for men. I've had jobs that weren't my calling. Working at the local taco was not my calling, even though it was delicious. But I needed to make money, so I showed up to work on time. I did the right things. I did the best I could until I didn't work there anymore, and I gained a ton from that experience. Hardly anyone goes from realizing their dreams to discovering their calling to getting to do their perfect dream job. We all have parts of our jobs that aren't our favorite, but we have to do them. When I was still figuring out what my career was going to look like, I was really poor. Barely getting by, having to ask my parents for money, carpooling to save gas, selling things on Craigslist poor. And so were a lot of my friends. At that time, many of us were on the first few steps of our creative careers, and those first few steps looked like shuffling in the porridge line with Oliver Twist. I nannied, I worked at the local taco, I took jobs I found online for editing or writing copy. I was hustling, and I had to, and I never would have been able to make it doing what I do now, what I love, if I hadn't worked hard at those jobs that weren't my calling. You've got to be brave enough to be faithful, even when you don't want to be. You've got to be brave to work hard now for a payoff that won't come until later. But it's so worth it. All right, our topic that's brought out from today's devotional. Hardly anyone goes from realizing their dreams to discovering their calling to getting to do their perfect dream job. So it's letting us know it's still a process. It's not an automatic overnight thing. We still got to work toward realizing the dream, that calling that we have. Our call to action for today is be brave. Do something at your job today that takes a little courage. Suggest a new idea. Try something creative. Speak to someone you usually avoid. So again, it is to do something at your job that takes a little courage. Suggest a new idea. Try something creative. Speak to someone you usually avoid. So hopefully that's something we can all do. And if you can't do it today because you're off work already or whatever, it's something to do when you're back at work. Whatever that work is. Paid job, volunteer job, work at church, whatever it is. Do something at whatever your job is that takes a little courage. Suggest a new idea. Try something creative. Speak to someone you usually avoid. All right. So that is it for day number 38. When your calling isn't your job. Thanks for checking me out. Thank you for going on the journey with me. If you do get a chance to do the call to action today, leave me a comment. Let me know what you did. All right? Until tomorrow, our 100 Days to Brave journey continues. Take care.